Jason Schreier for Kotaku is back at it again with Overwatch leaks, this time confirming that Overwatch for Switch will be announced at the Nintendo Direct tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. He alludes back to the Overwatch-themed case leak that was found on Amazon, but also says that Kotaku has confirmed the veracity of these leaks with two of their own sources behind the scenes. Schreier says that we're likely looking for an October 15th release in North America and the 18th in Europe. This is just a few hours away and I'm hyped to see what they announce, but I'm most interested in the optimization they put through for the little system. Will it be at 30 FPS? Can we get it up to 60? Pretty likely that they utilize a feature that many AAA games have used when porting onto the Switch called dynamic res. If you don't know what this is essentially when the things being shown on screen are at different resolutions. So some things will be blurry and some things will be clear, and sort of a mix between the two, and the resolution dynamically changes depending on the hardware power. This is a way to really optimize a low power console like the Switch to still be able to play some of these high-end games. I hope they don't have to do that too much with Overwatch, because it's so important for you to be able to see clearly all the time, and also for it to be fair in a multiplayer environment. So if anything, I hope they just lower the graphics quality to a severe degree and get it looking a bit more cartoony and have it running at a smooth 60 for everybody, but I think that's pretty optimistic. We'll have to see in a few hours. Moving on to the next important Overwatch news, Season 18 went live last night. Full-fledged role queue is now integrated into the live game, and we've been tracking based on where streamers have been placing, as well as you guys letting us know on Twitter how people's placements have been going and where it seems to be putting people. And from what I can tell, especially if you played in the role queue beta, it's very likely that you're going to place very near where you ended on a given role playing that test season in between. No word yet if they have made any changes to the off-role problem based on Scott Mercer's forum post that we covered earlier. It doesn't seem like they really felt like it was much of a problem, but in any case, with more playtime, with everybody playing the roles that they wanted to try out, it sort of was a problem that was going to fix itself anyway. Either players played enough games to push down or up closer to where they're supposed to be, or maybe they just learned how to play that role at that rank, right? As I've explained in the past, some of it might not have been mechanical play, but just basics of the team play and the understanding of what that role is supposed to do. With a bit more experience, maybe that's more integrated into the community, but we'll have to see, and let us know your experiences with all of these things placing and the off-role issues in the comment section down below. But aside from competitive, I'm really excited for Quickplay to have role queue properly. I tried it out last night when I was too tired to play competitive, and honestly, I had a blast. The queue times for all three roles are pretty low, even damage, and you can get insta-queued if you solo queue in with all three selected. And not only did I have fun with it, I highly suggest that if you're learning a new role, take time to play it in Quickplay, and in fact, just play Quickplay way more. I've said in a recent video that trying to play Overwatch is the worst way to learn it, and I want to clarify that statement to mean grinding ranked is one of the worst ways to learn it, because realistically what a lot of players need is just repetitions and practice of learning mechanical interactions, which in Overwatch isn't just aim, of course, but cooldown exchanges, repositioning, little combos and synergies, just working out the flowchart of what you're supposed to do and the plays you have to make to get value out of your character. And the Quickplay environment is finally a good place to let your hair down and go in there and try to learn something without being at risk of jeopardizing you and your teammates' SR in doing so. Because what you want to do is, whatever you think you're weak at, if you focus on that skill set in Quickplay, where the games come quicker and you're more free to just run at the enemy and practice, when you combine that with a little bit more thoughtful play in ranked, you'll be able to occasionally pull out those pop-off moments that you were grinding in the other modes. It used to be deathmatch where players went for this a lot of times, but even that wasn't really the same type of interactions that I'm talking about. And regardless if everybody picks Reaper and Moira anyway, what are you really practicing on any hero at that point? Instead, if you go in the Quickplay environment, it actually is a good place to go sharpen your skills. And the community there is always way nicer than the ranked community. They say GG all the time after the game ends, actually put nice things in chat. It's a whole different experience from the ranked experience, trust me. But moving on, last thing I wanted to cover today is shout out a discussion we had on Twitter. And by the way, if you guys like the things we cover in our videos, a lot of times conversations we want to have and ideas don't make make their way into videos for one reason or another, and instead we have these talks on Twitter. And today we talked about some meta theory that many of you might find interesting. A few different ideas here. First of all, a lot of people are calling Sigma an off tank right now, just because he also plays with an Orisa a lot of times in the Super Bunker comp. And I wanted to come out and say that I think it's a bad idea to label him as an off tank, and instead a more useful way to describe that is to just say it's a double main tank comp. Those have definitely been played in the past, and in fact, with the strength of Sigma and how he's sort of shifted the meta, what's more, I think we should be a bit more creative with the things that we try, and a lot of times the community is slow with iteration just because, of course, change is scary and taking risks feels bad, but especially at lower ranks, I think Reinhardt and Winston as a combo actually would be really good up against Orisa Sigma. Without a doubt, especially at lower ranks, the Sigma play isn't going to be strong enough to stop these tanks that just can run at you and penetrate barriers, but having both Reinhardt, who has hammer swings and fire strikes, and Winston, who leaps in and cleaves, you add in a Doomfist in the mix of all that, well, you've got a max shield penetration comp that sounds good in my head on paper, and I just haven't had a chance to try it out yet, of course. I'm certain it would be strong at lower ranks, but I'm even wondering if it might be pretty good at higher levels of play, because oftentimes I do feel like Winston is the only way to take space up against double barrier if you're trying to attack into it. Otherwise, you're just having a stalemate at the choke where both teams shoot shields and you can't get anywhere. And although I do think Reinhardt and Zarya on certain maps can run past the barriers, if Zarya gets stuck shooting at shields, she doesn't really do anything, and the double projected barriers can just eat up her grabs anyway. I'm starting to think Winston and Reinhardt actually has some applicability, and I want to see some players attempt this and try to give this a go, because the same principles of Orisa Sigma sort of enforcing the bunker play style so your shield can last longer than it's supposed to. Winston's stronger bubble allows Rein to swing more, just like when you place a Zarya bubble on him, but even more so because it blocks out more cooldowns, your team can press up more, and Winston, unlike Zarya, has the cleave damage through barriers, so he can actually commit in harder than Zarya can, even though he's technically not as durable. I see a lot of success with Reinhardt, but I think this might be the ticket, and it's sort of a butterfly effect from what Sigma has done to the game, where before it used to be the case where off-tanks were the ones with the firepower and the cool toys, whereas the main tanks were the only ones with the barriers and had the playstyle for the whole team to follow them, and Sigma kind of breaks the mold with that, where he has a little bit from each column. And with that, I think what it's done to the game is force us to think of all the tanks as interchangeable in this way, and I don't know if the community has really felt comfortable playing comps like that, and maybe when we start, we're going to find that there's more combos available to us that we were just sort of discounting, assuming that they weren't going to be strong inherently. But having two main supports is fine. Probably having two main tanks in a lot of cases is fine as well, even if it's not Orisa and Sigma together. And in fact, I think up against Orisa and Sigma, Rein and Winston in sort of a new age rush down dive shield penetration comp, I don't know what to call it, but might actually be pretty good. But that's all I got for you today. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out, lets us know that you're enjoying the content. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Linked in the description is our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, dank memes, and have conversations about theory crafting and Overwatch. Go give us a follow on there. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.